Hey guys, how you doing? I got my friend here. Um, he could be many different names. I kind of like him sitting there watching these things up in the sky. Um, so I'm going to, whoops, just making sure that I have this right. I want to explain what I'm gonna do. Um, I want you guys to like go on a little adventure with me. And it's because I feel like I went on an adventure with this guy. This guy. Right there. Not that plane. The guy with the logo. Cause he's gonna be many voices tonight. Cause I'm gonna disappear for a little bit. Or in a little bit. But because I have to go to these pages that I have up and read some of the things these guys described, and what they're watching right now, or what we're watching right now in the background. It's just a launch of a rocket, and the prophets all saw this stuff. I'm just gonna say hi to everyone. Roderick, good to see you. Jeffrey Rudd, good to see you. Anthony Dickinson, Beulah Land, good to see you. Anthony Dickinson, I might be referring to the Bible that you gave me tonight. So thank you again. Gage Kane, good to see you. And Jennifer G, PJ Culture. Oh, Timothy, hey, how you doing? Clouds Behind the Sun even is in here. That's awesome. Davey313, good to see you. Wow, awesome. So, have you guys ever, who's ever been to a rocket launch and seen like a shuttle launch? I have not, but tonight we're gonna go on like a virtual adventure, and I'm gonna make you watch a specific launch that it's only happened like 3 times, I think. And it's a Falcon Heavy launch. It's a SpaceX. Yeah, I think I remember you, Timothy. Yeah, for sure. I remember you. They had taken a picture and put it on some documentary thing, and it was like you were holding, I don't remember what it was exactly, but yeah, I know you were like, they took that picture like that look to make it look ridiculous or something, and I was like, yeah, I could see that. It kind of seemed like that. But yeah, so I've never been to a rocket launch. Okay, so you've heard of Sonic Boom, PJ Culture, okay. And oh, good Jennifer. Stick around. You'll like what we're gonna talk about. Because here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play this. It's like the rocket launch. I'm just playing someone else's YouTube video, and I'll put their link. I didn't yet, but I'll put their link in the description of this video, or a couple links probably. But so I want. It's like 7 minutes long, or maybe 8 minutes or something, from start to finish. And I want to read some scriptures. Oh, I gotta take a drink of my coffee here. Have you guys ever heard of that on Facebook? Go join. Props to Nathan. He's been doing inspiring stuff lately. Which you've probably seen. I made a couple of videos about, or of his videos. Like highlight videos, I guess. Yeah, that is a nice mug. Nathan, I don't know if he gave me that, or he gave me this for sure, the hat. Which, this hat's been up to the space station, back down, because, I'm an astronaut up there. I'm not right now, but, No, see, that's the problem with, shout out to Daniel Pratt, what's his, I don't even remember what his channel's name is right now. I'm terrible at that. But he put out a video today of a like an interview type of testimony type of video of a guy, and I haven't looked into the video yet, but the guy was describing hell. Like, I don't know if he somehow it sounded like he went there or whatever, and I didn't look into it, but the things he was saying, he's just describing space. And like, it's the world, it's a prison. It's a prison. So what's happening in these rocket launches, and this is, the prophets tell us this. Otherwise, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know to look up there, and to me, it would just look like nothing, right? I mean, look, it just looks like, oh yeah, it's a light, gases going out, expanding, whatever, big deal, right? But that's not what it is. That's not what it is. So while this rocket launch is happening, I want you to pay attention to a couple things. One is the sound doesn't come for like quite a long time after the rocket launches. It takes a long time because they're miles away from it. And that's something to pay attention into, because the scriptures I'm going to be reading, they talk about this. They talk about these things happening. And Enoch in particular got really detailed about what happens when these things launch. And I know you probably think I'm crazy. Everybody thinks it's crazy to think that rockets are in the Bible. No, sorry, it's not crazy, because that's how I know they're in there. Because I learned it from the Bible. And so we're going to go over it. What I'm saying is, these prophets, they were trying to explain to us that they saw this, and they saw it make the sky fall down. Okay, and they were very specific. Very specific. And like, to the point where I'm saying we need to watch this Falcon Heavy launch, because it matches one of Daniel's descriptions. He goes through every stage separation, and what I want to do is I want you to be able to experience it like Daniel did. So that's why we're doing this video from the ground. We're going to watch this right here. I don't know which launch in particular we're watching right now, but the one that we're going to be watching is a Falcon Heavy launch, and it was a nighttime launch, and I don't remember what satellite or whatever. But Daniel describes, I'll read it to you, and Enoch describes, like, in such great detail, it's unmistakable. Let's see here. I'm reading PJ Culture's comment here. See, there is no UFO deception. I'm here to tell you that. The deception is, and that's why I brought up Dan Pratt, or Daniel Pratt. I'm going to say Daniel because there's someone that comes to this channel named Don Pratt too. But Dan Pratt gets, I think he understands what I'm understanding now, just by his video that he put out today. This place of darkness is not space. It's not a place to explore. It's the abode of the damned. It is filled with evil spirits. It's called Sheol. It's called hell. It's called outer darkness. Tartarus. The desert. A waste and horrible place. The blackness of darkness. I'm just naming some of the things that it's called. And in Revelation 18, there's a prison for evil spirits called Babylon the Great. It's the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. John goes into the spirit to go there in Revelation 17 verse 3. So I'm just pointing some of these things out because there is people, YouTube people and good friends of mine or whatever were or whatever. I care about all these people, but there's people like, I don't understand how, but they say that I'm in error just when I'm pointing out that these prophets that wrote these scriptures are doing this. They're seeing this 2,000 years ago. They're seeing what you see on the screen. So I have some scriptures lined up, and I'm kind of just going to wing it, and because for years now I've had these scriptures in my head, and every time that I see this stuff, it like points out things to me that I wouldn't have understood before, like very specific things, and I hope that your eyes can see what I'm gonna show you here. And I'm really dragging this on, I guess. So let's watch. Here's what I was gonna say. If you have headphones, or if you have a good stereo, or wherever you are in your car or whatever, crank it up, because I want you to understand the hugeness of what these rocket engines do. Oh, I'll show you right here. I have a video just to show you. Here's one. This is a Falcon 9 rocket, and I just want you to look at the fire that's coming out of it. That's no joke. That's it's a ton of energy, and I can show you. Let's see here. We're gonna watch a Merlin engine. Just one of these. There's 9 engines there that we were watching. This is just one of them firing. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm not gonna sit and make you listen to that, but it'll fire for, I don't know, 2 minutes and something, or I think 185 seconds, something like that. I can't remember exactly. But just look at what is, these are real. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of energy here. Okay? That's enough of this one. Hold on. I can't handle that noise anymore. So let's watch this rocket launch. It's about like 15 seconds till they launch, and then the noise will come, however far the distance is. We could even figure it out if we really wanted to, but they're a distance away. So I want you to watch this. I might pause it during the launch to go over a couple points, because I want you to watch visually what you're seeing with your eyes on the screen. Just pay attention to this little guy over here and pretend that you're him, kind of watching what you're seeing on the screen. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully it works. And I'm gonna get my mic off, I'm gonna get out of the way here. I'm grabbing my Bible. Okay, so in Daniel 8, he said he was standing. Well, I'll just read it. I might stop reading when the sound comes in. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared to me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram, which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. I'll read it in a minute. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. So that's where I got to stop right there. Watch the screen. I'm going to maybe even zoom in a little bit. I'll read that verse again. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great towards the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Now that was Daniel Daniel 8, verses 1 through 10. Now, I want to read to you. Actually, I want you to watch the screen for a minute, and I'll read what Daniel said again in verse 10. Yeah, that'll work. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. Where's the host of heaven, guys? And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. In Revelation 12, whoops, I'm going there. In Revelation 12, John was looking up at the heavens, and in 12 verse 3 he says, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth." Okay, and I just want you guys to see what's on the screen here in a minute. So I'm just going through a couple of the, some of the things that they said, but we have to study. Okay, here we go. Okay, Revelation 13, verse 13 says, "And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men." So these people, they just watched it. You're watching it. I'm watching it. Okay, and I will put the this channel, I can't remember their name, but I'll have to go in my history. And okay, so now I want to go to this right here. This is what I had on the screen initially when I started. That's not the right one. This one. This is also a SpaceX Dragon. And for people to not pay attention to this probably isn't a huge deal, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And what I mean is, it's already been declared, it's already been written, it's in the Bible. So that's why I'm here doing this video. But in Revelation 13 verse 11, it was, John saw another beast coming up out of the earth. That's what rockets do. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, now here's the scary information, okay? The beast, rockets, big deal, right? But here's the part that people aren't understanding. And I wish they would, but so I'm looking at a page that says I'm live in 60 minutes. That must be a locked up page. Okay. Oh, but there's 18 watching now. Okay. It must just need to be refreshed, but I'm not going to refresh it. Enoch chapter 18. This is where we need to study and we need to put new information into our brains. New information that we haven't had in our brains before. Am I on the screen? Oh, I'm not. Sorry, guys. I gotta find my... I gotta move him in order to find my screen. Okay. Get back down there. Okay. Yeah. I would do a screen share, but you guys can look this up. It's I just go to Wikisource or I just type it into Google. Enoch chapter 18. So I do want to study this. I want us to understand what he's trying to say at the beginning of this chapter. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. What does it mean to furnish something? I'm just going to look that up. Because, I mean, I could use it in a sentence or something, but I don't really know exactly what that means. Available to be rented with furniture. Okay, that's not the one I was looking for. I'm not going to go any further on that. Sorry, guys. Okay. He had furnished them with the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the 4 winds which bear the earth and the firmament of heaven. So the winds bear, that means to support or to hold up the heavens and the earth, apparently. Okay? It says, and I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of heaven, of the heaven. So I want us to understand what that's saying. So on the second day of creation, God made a firmament to divide the waters from above, to divide the waters from the waters. So we have water on the earth that's we all know what water's like. And there's dark matter up there, but it's actually dark waters. And I don't know, I'm not trying to say I understand what those waters are up there. I know they're not a good place, but okay, they're held up by the firmament, which is I'm still not even at all understanding the firmament. I don't know if it's solid or if it is. I don't know. I mean, the word gives us the idea that it's something structural, solid. But solid to hold up what? What kind of waters? Not any kind of waters that are like the waters here. He divided the waters. So what I'm saying is there's heavenly or celestial, and then there's earthly or material, physical. And I'm not saying that I understand any of that. I'm saying that we all do understand down here on the earth. What I'm saying is that the divide between the heavens and the earth is a place of darkness. It's a prison now. And actually it says it right here in this chapter 18, which we might get that far down, but maybe not. So Enoch is just talking about the winds. He saw the treasuries of the winds, and now we've found out that they're the pillars of the heaven, and they bear the earth and the firmament. They hold up the firmament of heaven. The wind holds up the firmament of heaven. So when the atmosphere ends, I think that is where the firmament starts. So what they're doing, I don't know if they're going through a window. I have no idea. But these winds, which is air, right? Well, it's more than that. It's like spirits, or in a way. I guess I'm not going to try to say I understand much of this at all. But it's simple to understand what Enoch is showing us. So he says, I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. We watch that every day. We watch them going over our head. And they're always coming up on one side, going down on the other side. Okay. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. So from our point of view, it looks like clouds are floating, but they're sitting on the air or something. Like I'm not trying to say I understand this. Let's see. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So Enoch saw all those things, right? Very important, but so that place where he saw all that, he also saw flaming fire. He saw a bunch of mountains. He saw 7 stars that had broken the. They're rolling over a fire because they transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising. That's the 4th day. The 4th day. So those planets, those are bad angels. Right here. Where are they? They're in the abyss. The planets are in the abyss. Right here. Or they're beyond the abyss, to be precise. I'll read starting in verse 10. This is still chapter 18. Beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed, and I saw a deep abyss. So at the end of the earth, where the heavens were completed, there's a deep abyss. I saw a place which had no firmament. Oh wait, I skipped a line. With columns of heaven. Okay, I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike toward the height and toward the depth. So there's an abyss that goes down and up further than he could tell, toward the height and toward the depth. And I was just eating popcorn. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike toward the height and toward the depth. Bottomless. Outer darkness is what he saw. And beyond that abyss, beyond it, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So Enoch found the prison for the stars and the host of heaven, and it was obviously, where the planets were, where the wandering stars are. If you need me to briefly explain what the wandering stars are, why do we call planets wandering stars? Because every star in the sky does basically a circle around the North Star. And there's only 7 that don't do that. They do their own thing. They have different orbits, and they're actually deceiving even the science community with their I can't even think of what it's called. The way that they move makes people believe the globe. Retrograde. That's a whole different subject. But what I'm saying is those wandering stars, those are the ones Enoch's talking about right here. I saw there's 7 stars like burning mountains. So they're rolling over a fire because they're already locked up in their prison. Okay? Now, Enoch chapter 57. And it came to pass after this that I saw another host of wagons and men riding thereon, and coming on the winds from the east and from the west to the south. Okay, I got to do something before I finish reading that. We need to hear that kind of rocket experience again while I'm reading. I might just turn it down a little bit and might just fast forward a little bit. Okay, because I want you to hear this while I read what Enoch says. Okay, so he saw a host of wagons. He saw men riding them, and they were coming on the winds, so they were flying for sure. And the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it. And the pillars of the earth were moved from their place. And the sound thereof was heard from one end of the heaven to the other in one day. And they shall all fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. This is the end of the second parable. So Enoch also saw this. And that's why I wanted you to understand. I wanted you to hear this. That they're miles and miles away from that rocket. What I'm saying is just imagine the distance, the size of that, and we're going to read something, we're going to read more about it. I didn't even open that chapter yet. Enoch chapter 60. Okay, you know what these are? If we went to Enoch 56, we'd learn these are the angels coming back, the fallen angels returning. That's what rockets, this technology, that's what it is. Apollyon, the angel from the bottomless pit, he came up out of the bottomless pit, or the beast came up out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 13. But let's check out, let me read Enoch 60 a little bit. Okay, this is Enoch chapter 60. In the year 500, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, in the life of Enoch, in that parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake. Now listen, you guys, this is like what we're watching right now is an abomination. It is the worst thing that men could be doing, because of what they're doing. But okay, in that parable I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the host of the Most High and the angels, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000, were disquieted with a great disquiet. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angels and the righteous stood around him. God's in heaven, you guys. Like, it makes me tremble to understand what we're, not us specifically, what SpaceX is doing to the world. And NASA, the whole thing, the whole space exploration, because that is hell. How can you want to explore hell? Darkness. An abyss of darkness. How can you want that? Okay, I'm going to read a couple more verses. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins gave way, and dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. And Michael sent another angel from among the holy ones, and he raised me up. And when he raised me up, my spirit returned, for I had not been able to endure the look of this host, and the commotion and the quaking of the heaven. And Michael said unto me, Why art thou disquieted with such a vision? Until this day lasted the day of his mercy, and he hath been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell on the earth. And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment come, which the Lord of spirits hath prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared. For the elect a covenant, but for the sinners an inquisition. I don't even want to keep reading. Okay. You guys, if you guys could understand what I'm understanding right now, do you hear that? That's just because they're going faster than the speed of sound. Yeah, exactly. Being down from heaven onto the earth. Revelation 12, verse 4. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. Babylon is going to be desolate, and it's going to be thrown down because we're breaking them out of their prison. We're at the end. The angels are coming down. The ones that came down onto Mount Hermon. Those ones. Here. Since 2015. Yeah. Okay, I'll grab something else for the background. Let's watch this. Okay, this is a little bit from a distance away. Look what it's doing to the four winds of heaven. You know how people are talking about flat earth a lot? Like me? I'm saying, hey, earth is flat. Stop believing these lies. These lies that you're watching on the screen here. And do you see that rocket falling back to earth there? Using fire? There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels. Where is this? Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Let me see if I got a dragon. Or here's one of Dragon's Super Dracos. Whoops, nice music. That wasn't my music. Okay, let's see. That's a Super Draco. There's there's 4 of those. That was a pair of Super Dracos. What's other else thing do I got here? I feel like playing this. I love this one. Oh, I gotta turn the sound down.
Thou shalt
Whoops.
Get thee hence, Satan. For it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
Curvature formula 666. This teaching your children that? She knows better.
My name is Emily, and my question is, how does it feel to know that you are floating in a piece of metal in an endless void?
Yeah.
Get thee hence, Satan.
Yeah. How does that... That was actually a question on a NASA ISS thing. That was from NASA. That they left, like, you know, that's another thing that I got to bring up. NASA. You couldn't be more, NASA couldn't be more guilty of hiding the truth than they are today. And you can see this if you follow them. For how many years? However many years we've been live streaming here on YouTube, NASA's been live streaming spacewalks, where they work on the space station from the outside, where they got all the delicate stuff or whatever, them weirdos. But just, okay, spacewalks. Oh, I don't even know where to start. Okay. When they bring the suit back in, like, okay, there's no air in space to have a smell, right? But when they put the astronaut back in and they equalize the air after they repressurize the whatever, when they equalize it, a smell comes off of the spacesuit. And I've heard Chris Hadfield said it smells like brimstone, like a witch has just been there. That's a quote, by the way. And he said it smells like burnt steak. Another astronaut said it's a really cool smell. It's like metallic kind of gunpowder smell. There's something else I gotta read. You know, those are dark waters above. I'm not trying to say that I understand the nature of these waters, but they're dark waters, and I can tell you some things that are really kind of interesting. That Enoch is really good at if you want to understand how the skies actually work. I'm not saying like I have some detailed understanding. I'm just saying in very general terms, Enoch goes into great detail that I don't understand. Like it's still kind of, some of it's like, okay, what's he talking about, you know? But it's not all like that. Some of it is really clear. Let me just read one verse out of Enoch, chapter 67, and it says, maybe it's 2 verses. Where is that? Oh, okay. I'll start in verse 6. And when all this took place, from that fiery molten metal and from the convulsion thereof in that place, there was produced a smell of sulfur, and it was connected with those waters. And that valley of the angels who led astray mankind burned beneath that land. That's space, you guys. And through its valley proceed streams of fire, where these angels are punished, who led astray those who dwell upon the earth. And I'll just read the last verse in that chapter. Because these waters of judgment minister to the healing of the body of the kings and the lust of their body. Therefore they will not see and will not believe that those waters will change and become a fire which burns forever. Scary stuff, you guys. I wonder, I'm going to go to the chat thing. There we are. Let me just read. Okay. I gotta start in the right spot. I gotta start in Revelation 10, verse 7. Because there's things being fulfilled in prophecy, like right before our very eyes. And this thumbnail for this video is kind of a joke. I stole Adam Parable of the Vineyards thumbnail from his Isaiah study that he's doing, and I made it a little more realistic. Put some rocket boosters coming down, because that's actually what these prophets saw. They weren't going to see fireballs coming down unless there was something doing that. Like, to understand that the prophets saw things that, if you believe we live in the end times, then you should be able to just look up at the sky and see what the prophets saw. Because they were that's what they were talking about. They were saying, this is what is the, like Daniel and John were both told, you're going to have to come back and prophesy at the end to all these nations and all these tongues. That's what John was told. And then Daniel was told that he would have to stand in his lot at the end of days. They're two witnesses. What did they witness? They witnessed visions of the beasts at the end. And what are the beasts? What are the beasts going to do at the end? They're going to be destroyed because they destroyed the earth. And they all ascend into heaven, or they all arise out of the earth, I mean. In Revelation 7, you know how we were talking about the winds and how important they are in holding up the firmament or whatever. They bear the firmament, the four winds, okay? I know about these winds from Revelation. Like I was, there's my alarm going off. Like I was saying, the people are talking about flat earth a lot. People like me. Because we see something that we couldn't see before. And it's real. It's not like we're crazies. This is people all over the world. All over the world. Let's see here. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. This is crazy. I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. I think that's talking about God's wrath. Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. What if that's right now? I believe it is. I believe it is. What if that's right now? Because there's kind of like, I know there's some of you that understand this just the way I do, and some people are starting to understand it in a different way than they did before also. Like, why did the flat earthers for a long time, including myself, could not even fathom any of that being what these people on the ground say it is? That's like all of us. People everywhere in the world started saying, that's bunk. You can't tell us that you're doing the things you say you're doing because we don't believe it. You're lying. And I've come in to understand it differently than that. No, they're not lying. They're believing a lie. They're being led on. Like, I guess the best way to put it is, if you send a real physical rocket with a capsule on it, and the capsule is carrying a Mars rover, if you send that into that place, you will get the data that you expect to get because you believe it. What I'm saying is, when they said we need to go to the moon, they didn't set up a Hollywood set. Although I know a lot of people that are flat earthers go, yeah, they did. They had to have. I think it's different than that. And I'm not saying anybody knows this, but if they set up a Hollywood set, which we know they set up sets for like practice and all that stuff. There's so many awkward pictures of that era. Like I just put a video on my Facebook today. I don't remember what I called it. It was something like, what was the world thinking? You have 3 astronauts come back from the moon, and they're in quarantine in some little trailer hut with a window, and they're like sitting there, like they're like way down on the ground. So the president's like, he's got to like bend down to talk to him, and then they get a guy in there to pray, and he prays to the God of heaven that repeatedly says, the heaven is my throne. And so these people pray to the God of heaven and thank him that their astronauts made it back from their exploration of the heavens. This doesn't make any sense. But that's what happened, and everybody cheered it on. And I think that's because this, well, I'll just, my own life, okay? 5 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, so what? They got 3 idiots on a rocket and sent them up there, whatever. Who cares? Who cares if they prayed? They're whatever. Like, it wouldn't mean anything to me, but now I realize that that's like an assault on God. Like, he made us. He made a whole earth for us. What's the earth comes and collects their money together, and they pay a crazy amount of money to have 3 or 5 people 250 miles up above the earth. And what is the benefit? There is no benefit. The benefit all goes to Satan, because he has deceived you into literally going to hell and paying to do it. Okay? All of the science they do up on the space station, all of that science is to further our reach into space for long duration missions. We have to know how the human body will hold up. Okay, so all of that science that they do up there, like they try to grow plants in microgravity. What for? Who lives in microgravity? That's just stupid. I can understand that there's an aspect of cool to technology and to like, whoa, but that's, if you're going up into God's tabernacle, into God's sanctuary, into his temple, and thinking that's a good idea, I just have to say that you're part of it. You're part of it. If you want to go there, who's your daddy? Really? Like, I want to, like, what do? Do I sit and just, because people tell me that I have that my interpretation is wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm not interpreting anything though. You can't take someone's testimony like Daniel or John, and they tell you that they saw something coming up out of the earth, and they saw it make fire come back down from heaven on the earth, and then they were deceiving the world by doing that. Elon Musk is doing that right now. He's deceiving the world by making fire come down out of heaven. It's like miraculous signs and wonders. That's all throughout the Bible. He's standing in the temple of God, showing himself that he's God. He wants to trek people over to Mars. And it's a problem. Like, it's just... So, the sound from those rockets, that shakes the pillars of the earth and moves them out of their place. And it makes all the spirits in heaven, what did the word was disquieted with a great disquiet. Is that a good idea? But, like, we don't know anything of what angels... I mean, we know what we have the scripture. But, like, what if... I guess it's just hard for me to even fathom how people can't grasp this. I know, because of what this book says, I know that people aren't going to grasp this. And I should have looked up. There was something I was trying to look up in the Book of Enoch that I couldn't find, and the only time I've caught it or whatever is not while I've been reading in Enoch. It's just when I've been listening to it. But I think it might be in like chapter 90 or something. I'm just gonna look right now, because he sees something bad happening. He sees the earth sink into a great abyss, and he sees all the trees and everything's being burnt, and like, it's crazy. That was, now that I think about it, that was a vision that he had. Anybody know what chapter that's in? I don't. Oh, wait, maybe I can just type something in. Let's see. Was that Noah? I can't remember. It might have been Noah. Let me see here. It's right here, I think. Is it chapter 90? Okay, let's see. And now my son Methuselah call me. No, that's not the right one. Okay. I'll put that. I'll add that in another video. I'll talk about that. But he sees a vision and he says the earth is destroyed, and that's what happens at the end, guys. The earth is destroyed. And then John saw a new heaven and a new earth, and there's no more sea. There's no more seas, dark waters. And the tabernacle of God would be with men. Do you get that? Be changed in the blink of an eye? Like, redeemed from among men? What's some of the other ways that it's put? Like, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say that when Jesus, like, he told us about all the things that we would have to do, or that the things to expect or whatever, those are all happening, and they're very specific, and people don't like this being specific, but it is. There's an everlasting gospel being preached right now, and there's a new song being sung right now, and it's a loud voice singing it. And I'm not saying it's my voice. I might be part of that voice, but what I'm saying, it's a loud voice. Netflix has done, what is it, Beyond the Curve. It's a loud voice. 5 years. 5 years, and the whole world has to hear it soon. Because that's what Jesus said. The gospel must be published to all nations. And actually, I put some verses in my last video I uploaded with Nathan and Trevor going to that church. At the end of that video, there's a bunch of things that I put in there that they're Jesus words of him saying what to expect. You'll be beaten in the synagogues. Okay, what gospel gets you beaten in the synagogues? Well, in that video, there's a good example, because Nathan, every time he goes and talks to a church, they nearly beat him down. I mean, I'm not saying like there's violence or something. I'm saying that actually, let me go to the chat. How many of you guys have talked about flat earth in your church and been asked, no, don't bring that up here? I'm just curious, because that's just how it seems to be. That seems to be what happens to everybody. I mean, I think the chat is catching up here. 144,000 flat earth street preachers. Yeah. And they're harping with their harps. I'm like, a lot of people talk on internet or talk on Facebook and stuff with their harping with their harps. Think how many people have heard about flat earth through a tablet or a iPhone. I don't go to a church building anymore. I hear you, Anthony. Wally S. says, where the Lord God is, nothing impure can ever enter the third heaven. The temple of God is in the third heaven. Or I've also read things where it even goes into more detail, like the ascension of Isaiah, where there's 7 heavens, and he goes down through every layer of them, and Jesus even goes down through every layer of them and kind of blends himself in with what's there so they don't notice him. And like reminds me of in John 1. Let's see here. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light. This is talking about John the Baptist. Oh, I should start in verse 6. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Okay? Now, this is important because Jesus prayed that that would happen again. But it wouldn't be John. It would be some people that Jesus sent out into the world. And that's in John 17. Jesus prayed that the people in the world would believe on him because of the testimony of the people he sent into the world. I'm going there right now. I think it's verse 20. John 17. I'll read a couple of verses here. I'll read in 17, verse 17, it says, Sanctify, this is Jesus, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. As thou hast sent me into the world, even so have I also sent them into the world. And for their sakes I sanctify myself, that they also might be sanctified through the truth. Yeah, it's right here. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word. So that he's saying he's praying, I guess, that he's okay. Let me go a little bit back in John 17. Okay, because I want to point out who the people are that we're talking about. In verse 6 it says, I have manifested thy name unto the men which thou gavest me out of the world. Thine they were, and thou gavest them me, and they have kept thy word. Now they have known that all things whatsoever thou hast given me are of thee. For I have given unto them the words which thou gavest me, and they have received them, and have known surely that I came out from thee, and they have believed that thou didst send me. Okay. Yeah. So in John 1, oops. It's John the Baptist. I just lost it. There we go. Okay. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. So then in John 15, Jesus says that we will bear witness to the truth. Or I don't want to say it wrong. He says, 15 verse 27, I think. Yeah. 26 and 27. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. So, from the beginning. You know what? I want to say something about the Bible, and I want to say something about what Jesus said in the Bible. I always picked up this book, and I said, oh, look at that. There's the Gospels. It's the account of Jesus when he was here. And that's true. 2,000 years ago, he walked on the earth, and these four Gospels are like a good story of a lot of the things that he did while he was here. But then I learned something else. That when you read these words, just as they apply to that story, they apply to your life. And I mean your life. I mean that. Now they apply today to the things that are happening in your life. So you can learn from the things that happened in the story when he was here. But the things he said are not just for that story. They're for your life. And they have meaning in your life. All the things that he said. All of them. And so when I'm trying to think of it, I'm trying to come up with an example. Let me give you an example. John 3, he was talking to Nicodemus. This is a good example. Because he was talking to Nicodemus, but today he's talking to you. And I can kind of prove that, but maybe not prove it. But I can show you what I mean. Okay. Let me take a little drink. Excuse me. Okay. He's talking to Nicodemus. And in John 3, verse 11, he says something that applies to a lot of the people in the chat here, maybe even people that'll watch us later or whatever. But I want to give it the right context here. Okay. He's talking about being born again, and the wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Because I should review that. In John 1, verse 12, I think, he says, I got to start in verse 10. John 1, verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So they were born of the Spirit of God. But Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. This is the verse, though, that applies to you right here, that for my example. I'm going to read it kind of slow and probably twice. He says this to Nicodemus. He says, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. But whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. And I happen to know that this is true. And what does it mean to believe in him? Well, I think today it means maybe something different than it did 5 years ago, because of truth that he has told us. Things that we didn't believe, very clearly we didn't believe. We were all living on a spinning ball. So he showed us that we weren't, and people still want to stay on that ball. And where's that ball going? It's going to start on fire, and fire's going to fall from the sky everywhere. But these people, they don't want to turn away from that to go to this, what it says in here, like in Genesis. Go read Genesis. We were talking about the firmament earlier. There's waters above the firmament and waters below the firmament, or beneath the firmament, whatever you want to call it. And he gathered, like, you can read the account. Oh, while he's jumping? Do I got him jumping? I haven't been paying attention to the chat. Coffee Beans, welcome. Good to see you. Bill Wheel, I got it right. Fool me not. I said hi to a bunch of people already, but I might have got everybody. Wally S, good to see you. I got Wally jumping. Revelation 13:3. I'll read that. Davey 3:1-3. Just because I caught it. If I'm looking at the chat, if someone's got a verse, I'll like, yeah, I want to read it. because if they're talking about it, it's probably good to read. It says, "Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee." That is the Christian, whatever they want to call it. That's everybody. There's nobody that's understanding what. There's like nobody. People have huge ego. Like this world, I don't know, I don't understand it, but their ideas overpower what they read in here, and then they act like they're preach out of here. That's really weird. Did you just put the last NASA logo mirrored on purpose? No, I don't think I did. Did I have it on there? Oh, maybe you're running behind or something in the stream. I'm not sure. Yeah, Flat Earth Millionaire. He's offering $200,000 for proof of curvature. Nobody's gonna be able to do that because water doesn't curve. It doesn't curve. Nathan is good at explaining this. It doesn't drop as you move distance. Like if you're in a SR-71 jet, they don't do an arc. They just fly a straight line over the earth. They don't do an arc. This is ridiculous. $200,000 now. And this guy's, you can reach him. He's got his channel. You can just go comment or whatever. He's a nice guy. He was at Nathan's debate with that other dude, that other weird guy. Team Skeptic. What's that all about? There's an element of this world I don't understand. Is the pictures I saw, or picture maybe I saw of him. I'm not even gonna, I won't even say that on my channel. I won't say that word. Whatever he was doing there, that's a weird thing, a weird situation, weird character. And I think, yeah, I really don't know what to even say about that. Yeah, Anthony Dickinson said it. I feel bad for that guy. He doesn't understand. He's trying to stand on quicksand and be like, "Oh, I'm on bedrock." That's what he's saying. He's so proud that he found this bedrock, but he doesn't realize that it's only quicksand. It's like a sandbar. It has nothing to do with anything solid. Because there's no evidence. And everybody believes it because of the space station. That's it. And the moon landing. Wally S. says, "People may say Jesus died on the cross 2,000 years ago. How does that affect me?" Well, he knows the end from the beginning. He knew that Wally S. afterworld and whoever would need a savior. He knew. Yeah, that's true, Wally S. And he knows right now. That's what, I'm not trying to rip on Parable of the Vineyard or Adam, but he says I'm in error or whatever, and he's been long suffering with me. And what he doesn't understand is that there's a whole huge aspect of understanding that I think Daniel Pratt just kind of clicked himself into this understanding. Not himself, I'm saying the Holy Spirit showed him something, I think. And I haven't talked to him or anything, and I didn't really look into that other video much. But Dan, he made a video today called "Space is Hell. Come out of her, my people." And I've been saying that from the scriptures. Well, I can show you in just about any book of the Bible. In Jude, these wandering stars, they're in prison. I'll just read the verse. It's verse 13. Raging waves of the sea. Which sea? That sea. the great sea, up in the sky, the dark waters. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch, also seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of their hard speeches, which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are the people that we're debating against. These are the people, they don't understand what they're doing. But what I was saying about Parable of the Vineyard is, he is a Berean when it comes to the scriptures. He knows these scriptures. And in fact, I can show you something. That this is just interesting. It's not like, even Adam yesterday or something on Facebook, he's like, you've already publicly shamed me. And I'm like, oh, no, I've never publicly shamed you. Anybody that's watching understands that I'm pointing something out that's valid and important. It's not ripping on Adam. I'm trying to show Adam. But Adam already knows. He already knows, apparently, about these things that God has showed me. And like Daniel Pratt seems to be understanding some of these same things. And Thomas Morgan, I could name people, Roderick, there's a lot of people. And I'm not like trying to point out people, but what I'm trying to point out is that I've heard people say, oh, 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses or whatever. And I've heard, like, there's a lot of things that if people were actually seriously believing their Bible, believing what it said, believing what it said about the end of days, while they say they're living in the end of days, they do. I believe we're in the last hour. Like, people are always saying that. Adam says that. I say that. Well, what happens in the last days? Who is there? A group of people or a person or people that are going to know of everything before it happens? There is, because John saw it. John saw that happen. And I'll read you the verse. I meant to go to it before, but I forgot. Revelation 10 verse 7. I think Daniel Pratt just read this too, actually. Maybe in a different video. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, and I say that's right now. And people are like, no, this has to happen first. This has to happen first. And I'm like, then open your eyes. The Antichrist has to be... I've heard people say the most ridiculous thing. It makes me think of like filling out a 1040 form. No, that's not the way it goes. Give me a 1040 form, I'll show you, like, or whatever. It's not a tax form, you guys. This is something that the prophets saw that is a guide to us if we can understand it, and that all happens by the Spirit of truth. That's, none of us can do that. Hey, Beck from Oz, good to see you. And Sea Level, good to see you. How are you doing? It is raining here. Good for you. Beck lives in Australia. They need the rain. It says here, the 7th angel, in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished. The mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. John saw the mystery of God being finished, and it's past tense right now, is what I'm saying. He hath declared it to his servants, the prophets. He just has. I don't want to like say names of people. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is show you. Oh, I can do that in here. That's awesome. Okay, give me a minute. I forgot that I had this NASA snake up here. I'm sorry, guys. We're just going to go to a blank image. Uh-oh. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to show you guys, I made a couple, these kind of took a minute to make, but not really. I mean, I made a bunch of them, but let's see here. What am I doing? I want to go to, how do I do that? Oh, effects, okay. I'm not good at multitasking, especially like if I know people are watching me. I hate wasting people's time, so I don't, but I want to show you these things, guys. Okay, I'm going to show you, hopefully it's here. I don't even know if I have the original one. So Adam, it just caught my eye. Maybe I can show you a different one. I'm just trying to find, okay, this I made, this is basically an image. Sorry, I'm tapping on the table. Okay, this is a little image that I made, and it looks a lot like a thumbnail that Adam had on his channel, because I thought it was really cool. It's like the stars falling or whatever, and Adam's was a little different than this. It wasn't moving or anything, but it was generally the same. So I made this just for fun, and then I realized, wait a minute, I like that, having that guy there looking up like that, because that's exactly what John was doing in Revelation. He was looking up at the heavens, and he saw all these things happening. Now let me show you. Okay, so this is like, we'll say that this is kind of what Adam would be thinking in his head. But this is amazing what the Lord can do, and because I'm not against Adam. Like, he even thinks I am. Like, he even thinks I'm like trying to shame him sometimes or something. I'm like, no, there's a specific reason why I ever mention your name. Like, this is what Adam, in my like, I'm pretty sure Adam wouldn't even argue with this. This is what he expects to see up in the sky, or he expects to see this. Okay, something like this, but I suppose the dragon would have 7 heads or whatever. Okay, but a flying creature like that, something you'd see on Saturday morning cartoons or whatever. So I made that, and then I said, wait a minute, what did they actually see? Adam says we live in the end of days. Okay, let's read about what they saw. Like, John looked up to the heavens, he saw a great red dragon. It had 7 heads and 10 horns. And there was war in heaven, and all these things happened, right? Well, here we are in 2020 now. And just think about this. We're in 2020, and what does the sky look like? I'm grabbing another one of these. I'm just kind of building this up. I want to show you these to you guys. Okay, and I might, if I find an image of, I stole some images from Adam's a video that we should watch this video, because it shows, actually it's not negative, a negative thing about Adam at all. What it is it shows his knowledge in the scriptures. Like, he is well studied. And what I'm saying is, this is the Lord doing these things, because Adam is knowing the same exact things and saying, we're going to see this coming down in the sky, or he could be up waiting in heaven, or like, he's saying all these things. But then when it comes to actually acknowledging that they are in the sky, it's crazy. Like, it's in error, Joe. You're in error. You're making flat earth a idol. I'm like, whoa. What about the dragon up in heaven, the real one? Okay, so this dragon on the screen there is probably not going to be flying in the sky. I'm looking here. Sorry. I get sidetracked easy. Where are these things? Oh, here we go. So I made this. This one is a kind of shorter one. I made this, and I said, here's what it actually looks like. And this is what it actually looks like. And we watched this in the video tonight. So I just got the prophet guy, or whoever it is, you know. Well, It could be Enoch. It could be Daniel. It could be John. He saw fire coming down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. It could be a lot of different prophets. Zechariah saw a flying roll that was a curse that what was the words that used? Something over the face of the whole earth. It was a curse. And it will go into every house, and people have to be on this side or that side, and it will consume the house. The lumber of the house. It will consume it. Because they're going to destroy the earth. They're going to destroy it. Let's see here. But there's good news, because there's a place being prepared by the Son of God, Jesus. There's a place being prepared, and John measured it, and he said a lot about it. He said it was going to come down out of heaven from God. And the angel, well, let me just read a little bit in Revelation 11. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. So, where does Elon Musk go with his rockets? And where's the space station? Could that be, we're watching 2 Falcon 9 rockets on the screen coming back down to Earth and landing. So that could be something that, what I'm saying is that I thought the temple of God was going to come out of heaven, or down from heaven out, or you know what I'm trying to say, from God, out of heaven. Yeah, I like that lone scum, Elon Musk. This is real, and I think that there's a lot of people that are having a hard time seeing that there's even anything happening. And that's, I guess, why I'm here, and that's why a lot of the people that are talking about this stuff are here. It's happening. It's happening. We're at the very end. And for you to want to do these things that I've been playing on the screen, to send up these rockets into what I call heaven, where there's also an evil place up there filled with evil spirits. If we pay attention to the actual words that Paul wrote to the Ephesians and to the Romans and to everybody, in Ephesians 6, I guess I'm not going to go there because I'm going to try to wrap this up, but in Ephesians 6, verse 12, it said, we struggle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world. So let me be factual in my speech. What I'm saying at the end of this video is that Satan, and you'll all agree with this, I'm sure, Satan is the ruler of the darkness of this world, right? Well, he goes by another name, and it's literally true and also a fact. SpaceX Dragon is the ruler of the darkness of this world. He stands in the temple of God, showing himself that he's God, and the world believes it, and they're going to follow him right into hell. They're actually sending rockets to go there to break those evil spirits out into our world. 2015 was the first year that a rocket ever landed after going into orbit. That's a new thing. It's a new thing. They land rockets. And that is, it should be obvious, that's the dragon's tail casting the stars down. It's bringing angels, evil spirits, into our world. So I don't know if I think that a lot of the things, because you know how people are crazy right now, people have gone mad. Like when I say here's an example, and people don't like this, but a lot of people do. Okay, if I ask a child, if I say, is the earth moving or spinning? And if they know what I mean by the earth, if I could say the ground. Is the ground moving? And they'll observe for just a second. They'll go, something like that. And they'll say, no, it's not moving. And when I ask an adult the same question, is Earth rotating? They start pointing at the lights in the sky and change the subject because they don't want to face the truth. Be like a child. Pay attention to make observations of the world you live in. Simple ones. You don't need a spendy camera even. But the science community, the people that educate children in schools these days, these curriculums and things, they actually teach that ceiling, the stars, is not what's moving. They say that the earth is moving. They teach children this. They taught all of us this. We were born in this. So I like what Nathan Thompson said in his video, or when he was at that church talking to them. He said, if you've been born in a lie, or if you've been living in a world that had not truth, there was truth that was being disclosed, basically, had not been revealed. For 50 or 60 years, it's got a really solid hold on everyone. And then when the truth comes and you weigh it out like that child, it very quickly you can weigh this truth out. Like that child, he'll look around and he'll look at the floor maybe, and maybe even touch the floor. You know what I'm saying? It's a simple thing. Say, is the ground moving? Is the earth moving? Is it spinning? Are we tilted? Is any of these things? Okay, none of these things have any connection to the observation you make. So that's why when a person's 7 or 8 years old, their intellect has totally bought into what we all have believed. Bill Wheel says, faith is very important to build. You need it to survive and to not fall under the pressure from Satan, from his wicked arrows and his fiery darts or whatever. You're right. Faith. Well, and that's what this that's what I believe this whole flat earth thing is here for. It is something that we didn't believe. I'm saying the whole world. We didn't believe. And then now this new topic is coming up. And like the title I put on that video of Nathan's is something about, on Facebook I think it was, maybe not on YouTube, but it was, this is what it looks like when the gospel is preached to an apostate church. Nathan going in with flat earth flyers, saying, he's quoting Genesis 1, telling them about the truth, the word of God, that we didn't believe. It shouldn't be a problem for someone to say, well, because people get offended right away and say, well, what do you know? What do you know that I don't know? And I'm like, just the simple story in the beginning that we all read it, or we all knew it even. We all read about the firmament, but did anybody consider that God spent a whole day or whatever, day 2, making the firmament, and it was his handiwork and it declares his glory? And then none of us thought about it? Now I'm like, in that video, Trevor says, we're standing up for the firmament because it declares God's glory. That's true. Look at it. It spins above the earth. And you got science telling you it doesn't. They're telling you that you're spinning. They're confused. So that's it's important. Kent Hovind's is the against evolution. And I don't understand how this works, but I know that the things that I bear witness to and the things that Bill Wheel bears witness to. I'm just saying some names. Davey313, Wally S. Hey, Venus Cupcake, good to see you. The things we bear witness to are not things that, like as Adam would say, that was just a truth that to get us to come back to his following his ways or whatever. And although there's truth to that, it's not just a truth. It's the only truth that will stop you from this hell endeavor that they're doing, this space exploration, this from being under the king, or what is it, the angel of the bottomless pit, Apollyon. That's the king of this world right now. Hey, Captain Flatty, good to see you. I like that name. John C. Oddity and Flat Earth. Oh, Timothy says, exactly, why are so many Christians scared and so ready to get out of here? We have a job to spread the gospel in the end days. Yes. If it's pre-trib, who's getting martyred? Pre-trib doesn't jive. You know what? Pre-trib is a word that I don't see in my Bible. I see a word that to me means like purchased. Like there's an ownership there, and it can be redeemed at any time, and it's like it apparently I don't know how that happens. I can't say. I don't know. Lee Redpath, good to see you. Eric Dubay is wrong about dinos. I think there's probably some sort of dinosaurs type things, but I don't know. It's pre-wrath, not pre-trib. Now that saying that makes some sense to me, because pre-wrath. Now I think that's the scary part, is wrath is not, I don't know this, but it seems like when the fire falls and the earth is destroyed, that's the wrath. And the people, I don't think there's repentance after, I don't know. I don't think there's a way to turn around after you're already gone. Or not gone, but I mean you're already in a pit. Like Enoch says that the wicked will be removed, but it's like a swap. It's like what you got something and somebody's got something, you're like, all right, trade at the same time, and you kind of do the hand swap. Like, I'm joking, but it's like that, because you know how the dragon is waiting to devour the woman's child? Like, I just think Davey 313 just said it. We will shed our blood for him. But there's more than that. There's people that don't ever die in this story, in the book of Revelation. There's people that don't, okay, they're killed for the word of God, but they don't die. They're changed. So I don't know how that all goes. I'm just saying, let me try to think of which verses I'm, and then how Enoch says the wicked is removed. So the earth, here's how I picture it. The earth falling away into the darkness, and all the impiety and all the, I don't know the exact, all the words, but all the liars and all those things go away. And there's, for 1,000 years, Satan is bound. I'm just going to try to find what I was talking about. Right here. Revelation 21, verse 27, and there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth, neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they that are written in the Lamb's book of life. So I think, I don't know how that Lamb's book of life works, but I think that was about all. That was a little longer than I was planning on, but the four winds of heaven are being destroyed by Elon Musk and Dragon. Just like the Bible says, Satan is dragon. like people say this to me, and it's because they're not thinking like a child. They're thinking like they have this intellect and they're smart. When I tell you just what John said, the dragon up in heaven, that's Satan. The dragon that we see up in heaven. I mean, I was playing these videos in the background the whole time. Let me try to go back to that video. Okay.
Yep.
Like these plumes. The prophets saw these. They saw these rocket launches. They saw this Merlin, these 9 Merlin engines. They saw the Dragon capsule. They saw that it held 7 crew members. They saw that they made 10 of the Dragon version 1 capsules, 10 horns. They saw all these things. So I'm just here not being in error by pointing out, hey, look, that matches with what Daniel was talking about. Hey, look, that's making fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men when it comes down to land. So that's what I'm saying, is that that's not an interpretation. That's an observation. And me saying, hey, there's testimony that somebody said that they saw something that sounds exactly like this. And then people will say, oh, you're in error because those are kingdoms and kings. And then they go, those are world powers. Okay, I agree. These great beasts, which are 4 kings that shall arise out of the earth. That should be words have meanings. What does it mean to arise out of the earth? Arise out of the earth. Is there anything maybe in the background here arising out of the earth? Just saying. What about the 4 winds of heaven? Remember, there's 4 angels holding back the 4 winds from hurting the earth? God's wrath? They're going to hurt the earth? And they're holding back the winds. And what did Enoch say that the winds did? They are the pillars of heaven. They are the pillars of the firmament. They hold the firmament up. And the heavens, whatever. So, what you're seeing on your screen is war in heaven. It's Michael and his angels, those angels holding back the winds. And dragon, just like John saw in Revelation 12, dragon saw war in heaven. He saw Michael fighting with the dragon and his angels, just like you see on the screen behind me. Let's try this plume. Here, this one's really cool here. There's all this is pretty neat. Oh, maybe I went too far. Yeah. Okay, this is after it breaks in pieces and stamps the residue with the feet of it. These are just Daniel's descriptions. It had great iron teeth. And what is it? Strong exceedingly. Yeah. Okay. So, the kingdom that you're all searching for is not Israel or governments or whatever, all these. No, it's something really simple. Let me explain. Of all the kingdoms of the world that go up to the stars, okay, who would that be? The kingdoms of this world that have the capability to make it up to the stars. And because Daniel and John and Ezra, they saw them going, this kingdom, this 4th kingdom. Ezra and Daniel in particular saw this kingdom going up to heaven, going up and flying with the clouds, flying with the 4 winds of heaven. Daniel even says that, actually, at the beginning of his vision. He says he was talking about the waters above. You'll see what I mean. The wind strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea. They were diverse from one another. I'm not going to go there. This video is going to get too long. But so do you guys get? Okay, when the prophets saw that, why did they see that? Why did he show them visions of these rockets? Which I know a lot of you still are like cringe when I say that, but that's your worldly attachment kicking in. You need to like think like a 2-year-old, 3-year-old child, and I'm like, go read these visions again, because they're revealed now. They weren't revealed then. When the last time someone's talking about, that's the Roman Catholic Church, that's the Vatican, that's the Pope's the Antichrist. Sorry, guys. Read them again. Go read them again. I don't care how much of a scholar you are. Go read them again as that 3-year-old child and try to understand the words that they're saying. Because I'm not saying that you were reading them wrong. I'm saying that the Spirit of God has opened these things up. How? How has He opened them up? They have manifested so that they're in the sky. John and Daniel saw them in vision form, however that works. I personally think that something like a computer screen. You don't think God can show people things on a computer screen? You're watching one right now that men made. So a vision, it came by an angel. I don't know how it all happens, but think about it. God flies with the winds. Where does it say that? In Psalm, maybe? Psalm 18? Let me just see if that's in there, but because Elon Musk is doing something very bad. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, verse 9. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. You just have to think about, what do we know about what we're watching on the screen here? Nothing. Elon Musk knows nothing. NASA knows nothing. They don't understand the spiritual world that is above us. So, like Ephesians 6:12 said, the rulers of the darkness of this world. SpaceX Dragon, just like John said in Revelation 12, Dragon is the ruler of the darkness of this world. Literally. Dragon. Let me show you something in the background. I gotta find it here really quick. I got plenty to show you. Let's just watch Dragon. This is Dragon. In that darkness. SpaceX Dragon. This is how Satan has manifest. Otherwise, the prophets wouldn't have described this. Because the whole story is that these kings of the earth, they destroy the earth. They destroy the earth. And now we're there. What I'm saying is, we're almost, like, I don't know the day. I'm not trying to know the day. But I do know this. Where is that? Well, it says somewhere, he will destroy them who destroy the earth. And I can't remember where it is. So, are you for or against space exploration? Because that's a big deal. If Satan's your daddy, you're going to be like rooting for Elon Musk. Go Elon! Because Elon is someone that, if you knew who he was, you would be probably like not believing in his rockets because they're satanic miracles. That's just what it is. But Captain Flatty says, I'm going back to the globe. You know, hey, that's interesting. Brings up an interesting thing. Simon Dan's video today or whatever was like a Q&A or something, and it was whatever. But that was one of the things that came up. Someone asked him, how many people have you converted to, like, from the globe, or from flat earth back to the globe? And he said, okay, this was his 250,000 subscriber video Q&A or whatever. That's what the video was. 250,000 subscribers, and he's like thought about it and said a couple things or whatever, and he's like, not that many, probably like 25 by now. So what I'm trying to get at is, once you go flat, you can't go back. It's impossible. The 25 that he's probably talking about are probably like people that didn't ever believe it. Like, they're just probably telling him, yeah, man, it was because of you. I can just see people doing that all the time. But, alright, psyop man, Dan. No, here's something that, like, okay, I'm just going to say this, that I've seen in more than just Dan. I've seen it in a lot of people, and I don't know if it's just maybe my eyes that can see this, notice this. Dan's filled with fear. You can see it in his eyes. You can see it the way he speaks. He's scared. Like, he wouldn't admit this. But what I'm trying to say is that God is putting fear into people. And I think we even read a little bit about some of that. I don't remember even which verse, but he is... The people in the world, they understand that something's happening in their hearts. They know it. But it's 2 Ezra chapter 13 says that they're filled with fear when they're going to fight against him, when he's uttering his voice, against Jesus, when he's uttering his voice, flying with the clouds of heaven. And those who hear his voice melt like wax. That's because they receive the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit makes their eyes, the scales fall off their eyes. Just like Paul had to happen to him after being blinded by the light. So, Slyman is flat, he can't go back. Oh, you saw that, Venus? Cupcake, you watched that, huh? Yeah, that's crazy stuff. Like the plumes that yeah, this is what I gotta say, and then I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for hanging out. I do appreciate it. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'm gonna find out whether that was Noah or Enoch or whatever that I was talking about earlier, with when he saw the earth destroyed. I'm gonna find out that, and I'll make a video about that or something. But yeah, shout out to Nathan Thompson and Woketown, Matt Long. I'm just off the top of my head. Daniel Pratt and Vincent Rhodes. Now You See TV. Rand Campbell, flat out elected. Rob Skiba. There's a lot of channels. I'm just saying a few there off the top of my head. So, them are all good channels, I think, and good people. And Parable of the Vineyard. Although he is like very, like, it's hard for me. My flesh wants to get in the way. I know Adam's doing good stuff, but he's closed off to understanding that the earth is coming to an end. The one we know, the earth we live on, is coming to an end. Destructive end. So the time is now to repent, because I get accused of that. Oh, you don't tell people that they have to repent. And I'm like, that's all I say. Jump off the globe. That is what I mean. Turn around. Get away from that thing. Turn around. Don't look back. You'll turn into a pillar of salt. Don't look back. Go. Turn around. Don't look back. That's the only way that you can see. Because if you're believing the stuff that's on the back of the screen here as being just reality, then you have, I like saying this now, Satan's your daddy. Like, really. If you have his heart, what does he say? He says he wants to ascend into heaven and exalt his throne above the stars of God. He wants to ascend above the heights of the clouds and be like the Most High. He wants to stand in the temple of God, showing himself that he's God. That's Elon Musk. I think he's called the Assyrian in Isaiah. There's a lot of different ways of understanding who that is, but it's certainly Elon Musk or SpaceX. What kingdom rules? What kingdom claims to be, well, what is the biggest kingdom on this earth that, of all the kingdoms that rule the kingdom of heaven, or reportedly, they report that they rule the kingdom of heaven? There's only a few. There's like NASA, Roscosmos. There's all the space agencies. And then there's SpaceX and Boeing, Orbital ATK. I can't even think of Jeff Bezos, whatever his company's called, Blue Origin. And then that other weirdo with this weird Virgin Airlines or something, whatever. Those people are the only kingdoms that are flying up to the host of heaven, that even would have the capability of casting the stars down to the ground with the dragon's tail. Like, what got Dragon up to this black darkness? His tail did. The Falcon 9 rocket. Yeah. It's scary. Like, I do start to, like, shake and tremble sometimes when it hits me. Like, I understand, like, my worst thing is I don't want to look back and say I should have done more, or I should have done, like, an example is I went over to my dad's for a couple hours just to help him with the pole barn project a little bit. And in my mind, I'm like, it's so weird going over there, because I know what's going to become of that pole barn. I know what's going to become of the couch I'm sitting on. I know what's going to become of all these things. They're all going to be burned with fire. And like Beck from Oz is in the chat here. She knows that fear better than I do. It's real. It, like she said, they got rain, so that's awesome. But to be on the edge of it, or anywhere, to know that consuming fire is going to consume. Like, I don't really know. I'm not saying I know how that all goes, but I think it says a third of the grass, or all the grass on the earth, will be burned, something like that. It's there's hail, and the plague of the hail is great, and they blaspheme God because of the plague of the hail. And the scorpions, they sting, and like all the things that I think a lot of that is happening only as there's no more, it, like, that's part of the second death, maybe. I guess what I'm saying is I'm rambling. Flat Earth says fire was horrific here. Are you down? Are you over in Australia too? Flat Earth? But yeah, fire. Go to Daniel Pratt's channel and watch his last video. Something about, it's called Space is Hell in the title somewhere. Just go watch what that guy's saying. That guy is describing outer space and saying that it's a testimony, like he went there or something. Not to space, I'm saying he went to hell, and then he's describing space, but it's expanding, or it's getting bigger, or whatever. It's the same thing. It's the same place, but the description he has is kind of heavy. So anyway, thank you guys all for showing up. Hey, JPD White. Earth is not a real solid thing. God holds this together. Yeah. That's why in Romans 1, it says they changed the glory of God into an image that was, or the incorruptible glory of God into an image that was made like corruptible men and creeping things and whatever. Oh, cool. Take on the World TV just went live. Awesome. Thank you, Anthony. That's a good channel. Except I haven't really been watching too many videos. I've been actually spending a lot of time just on the last couple of videos. The one with Team Skeptic and then the one with Nathan. It takes a long time to take a long video and to pull to pull highlights out of it that make, and then have them make sense when you put them all in one place and try to, like, it takes a minute, but it's worth it, I think, for people to see. So, like, the thing that Nathan did at that church, that's the gospel being preached right there. That's the best example that I've found of it. And the guy's like, you don't need to film us. And Nathan was like, no, actually I did need to film you. I needed the footage. And he explained why. And those guys at that church, they understood why he was there. They understood the reason that any of us are talking about this. It is because it's truth, and it's time to seek it out. And it's time, Nathan brought it up to Nathan's really good at doing this with people, but he brought it up to the guy. He said, the Bible says to hold fast, and he like did that with his hand to what is true. And like that emotion of like grabbing onto it and just don't let go of it, just hold fast to what is true. Like that's a real thing that people need to do now in the time that we're in, because the lies are so easy to believe. They're too easy to believe. So I like what Vincent Rhodes says. What does he say at the end of his show? He says, Jesus is the light of the world. And I don't remember exactly what he says, but I like that. Vincent Rhodes, that's a good channel too. So yeah, I'm gonna head out. You guys have a good one. Words have meanings. Reality is scary. And here we are. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.